Hey guys, Jake here coming at you with another math lesson today. Today we're going to be wrapping up our discussion about the Foundation of Differentiation chapter from my new book, The Elite Guide to AP Calculus AB. If you want to go get yourself a copy of this book, it is available on Amazon. You can scan the QR code up in the corner of your screen or go check the link down in the description or pinned comment below. But let's go ahead and jump into today's topic, which is going to be quotient rule. So we're going to be discussing how to find the derivative of a function using the quotient rule. So before we just dive straight into the problem, I want to kind of touch on a couple of things. First thing I want to touch on is how do you know when you have to actually use the quotient rule to find the derivative of a function? Well, it's quite simple. I mean, really, as the name implies, you would be using it when you have a function that is a quotient, or in other words, if you have a fraction. So in this case, you can see we have our entire function is just one big fraction, right? We have one kind of sub-function, one like simpler function on our numerator, one simpler function on our denominator. You put those in a fraction where you have something divided by something else, and that gives you a quotient. And to find its derivative, you would want to use quotient rule. So in this case, we could see that quotient rule is what we're going to have to use because we have this 3t squared divided by cotangent of 5t. That kind of tells you right off the bat, you can call 3t squared your numerator and cotangent of 5t your denominator, and you can use quotient rule. So knowing that, let's kind of dive into what exactly the quotient rule formula is. So the quotient rule formula essentially just says that if you're trying to find the derivative with respect to x of some function of x divided by some other function of x, that derivative is just simply going to be g of x times f prime of x minus f of x times g prime of x all over g of x squared. Okay, so this quotient rule formula is not quite as easy to remember or easy to apply necessarily as the product rule formula that we talked about in my last video. So as a result, I think I want to kind of touch on a good way that you can remember this formula, or at least the way that works for me. This is how I remember the quotient rule formula. Instead of thinking of it as the derivative of f divided by g, think of it as the derivative of the basically low part of a fraction, so low on the denominator, and the high part of the fraction on the top. So, think of it as like the word high and the word low. High and low. The reason I like to think of it this way is because then your derivative, instead of thinking of it as like g and f and g prime and f prime and all that, there's a little bit of more of kind of a sing-songy way to remember it. At least, it works for me. And I think a lot of people use this method, but it would just be low d high, so low d high minus high d low all over low squared. So basically what we're saying here is we have low, the bottom of our fraction, times the derivative, that's what the d stands for, derivative of the high part of our fraction, the top of our fraction, minus the high part, the top, times the derivative of the low, the bottom, all over the bottom squared. So low d high minus high d low all over low squared. It just kind of flows off the tongue a little bit easier, and I find it easier to remember as a result of that, rather than thinking of this formula up here. Now, don't get me wrong, that formula obviously is correct. If you can memorize this formula, by all means, please do. The reason I like this is just because of the way it flows. It's a little bit easier to remember the order, in my opinion. It's not like the product rule formula where the order doesn't really matter because you just have multiplication and addition in the product rule formula. In this case, the order matters because we have a minus sign here, first of all. So what that means is if you switch the g times f prime and the f times g prime, if you get those in the wrong order, you're going to get the wrong answer because this minus sign is going to be applied to the wrong part of the formula. So that's one potential kind of downfall that I see come up. The other thing is, since we're dividing here, we need to make sure we keep in mind, what belongs on the top versus the bottom of our fraction, obviously. So that kind of comes into play as well. So this makes it a little easier, in my opinion, to remember exactly where each component goes in the formula, exactly what order they show up, because for quotient rule, the order that those components show up in the formula actually matters because of the fact that you have subtraction and division, which division, you need to make sure that you have the right term divided by the right term, or the right term minus the right term. It's not like the product rule where it's all just multiplication and division, or I'm sorry, multiplication and addition, where the order can be flip-flopped and you still get an equivalent function. Quotient rule isn't like that. So you do need to make sure the order is correct there. So now that we've got that figured out, let's think about how to actually find p prime based on this p of t here. So we're going to determine what p prime of t is for p of t equals 3t squared over cotangent of 5t. So you can kind of use either one of these formulas. Personally, like I said, I like to use this one just because I can kind of say it out loud, or I guess in my head. If you're, sitting on the AP exam, you definitely don't want to be saying this out loud, but you can kind of think through it in your head as you write it. You don't have to think about the formula as much. It kind of flows a little easier. So we'll just say low d high. So low is going to be the bottom of our fraction. So p prime of t is going to be low d high, so cotangent of 5t times the derivative of 3t squared minus high d low, so high is going to be 3t squared times the derivative of cotangent of 5t. And sorry, we're kind of mixing stuff up here. I want to kind of keep that separate. All over low squared, so cotangent of 5t squared. Okay, so now once we've kind of written that out, we can think about actually finding the derivative of these two terms here. So we'll just keep our cotangent of 5t here for now. The derivative of 3t squared is simply going to be used or found using the power rule. So bring the 2 down in front, multiply it by the 3, lower the power by 1. That derivative would just be 6t minus 3t squared, and then times the derivative of cotangent of 5t. So I did make a video recently talking about the derivative of these different trig functions. If you want to go check that out, I'll put an info card up at the top. The derivative of cotangent is negative cosecant squared. So basically, we're going to actually, to find the derivative of this cotangent of 5t term, we have to apply not only the derivative of the trig functions, but also chain rule, because we have cotangent of 5t, not just cotangent. So this whole derivative, cotangent of 5t, is actually going to be negative cosecant squared of 5t times the derivative of 5t, so derivative of the outside, leave the inside alone, times the derivative of the inside is going to give us 5. The derivative of 5t is just 5. So that'll be that derivative of cotangent of 5t. And then for our denominator, we're just going to have cotangent of 5t all squared. Well, that's just the same as saying cotangent squared of 5t. So now we can just kind of simplify, distribute everything out on the numerator. This cotangent 5t times 6t is really just kind of reorganizing. Put the 6t out front times cotangent of 5t. And then negative 3t squared times negative cosecant squared of 5t times 5. We can kind of combine the 3 and the 5. The negative signs are going to cancel out, so we're going to get plus 15 t squared times cosecant squared of 5t all over cotangent of 5t. Or I'm sorry, cotangent squared of 5t on the denominator. And that's it. That'll be your p prime. So I hope you found this video helpful. If you did, do me a huge favor, hit that thumbs up, subscribe to my channel. If you're taking AP Calculus AB, we're going to be doing lots more problems and covering many more topics to help you prepare you for that exam in the coming weeks and months. Next video, we're actually going to be moving on to the next chapter in the book. So be sure to come back for more, and I'll see you next time. Thanks.